Well, the thing is, it's Funny Fart Simulator 2018, which is pretty good. Perhaps predictably, it's going to be a VR game, because there have been some, it's been a great year for PSVR specifically. We've got great titles like Astrobot, Beat Saber just landed, but there was a little game that came out earlier this year called Firewall 0 Hour that pretty much kind of took the style of Rainbow Six Siege, the sort of tactical, team-based multiplayer shooting, and put it in your face right there, which was awesome. And I played this initially with a controller, and it was really suspenseful because you have to work as a team, you have to hack the other players' laptops, and it's the time to kill is so short, and you're essentially peeking around corners trying to shoot people while people whiz at you. It was the first game that I've played.
Do you want to, that's
Go
a
on.
common expression, whiz at you.
Yeah, they whiz at you.
Whiz
No, they whiz at you.
That's like peeing on someone.
Well, it's whiz past.
Well, that's what it feels like, Jules. It feels like you're getting wee-weed on all over. So yeah, bullets are whizzing on you, Jules Gill. It is really suspenseful. It's the only game that I've played that actually makes blind fire, it does it well, because obviously you can't see where you're shooting, so when you're shooting around corners and you actually hit someone, it's awesome. So it was really great with the controller, but then I played it with the actual aim controller, and let me tell you, it changed my life. VR already changed my life, as everyone knows, but this was another level. It genuinely felt like VR had been realized properly. At least I only have a PlayStation VR, so I don't have the higher end stuff, but this was the first time I properly felt yes, we can do stuff with this, and this could be the future, essentially, because I bloody love it, don't I? I love VR. I really love it. Yeah, there is something wrong with me.
It's almost like you've invested a large amount of money in something and tried to justify it wherever you go.
The best thing about it is that the developers just continue to update it and support it as the months have gone on. It started a little bit sparse, guns were hard to unlock, time between matches was quite difficult, and I just hope the player base sticks around and we can see it develop into something really, really good, because I love it, and it's honestly one of my favorite multiplayer shooters of the decade so far, and I hope more people get a PlayStation VR, but maybe not now, because Sony are going to release a PlayStation VR 2 that's going to be miles better, so maybe wait until that, but still, buy Firewall 0 Hour, because it's good.
Well, as the gaming editor man who looks after the website side of things, I love playing everything, and I love this part of the year. So I actually have 6 things to talk about, but I will keep them snappy. First one is Deltarune, which is the Undertale follow-up from Toby Fox, which is he just didn't do any marketing for it. It was just sort of, hey, by the way, he tweeted a thing out saying he's got a new game, and you went to this website, I think it was deltarune.com or whatever, and turns out it's a whole sequel to Undertale. He's releasing it in chunks, so only the first episode is online so far, but it's a direct sequel to one of the best games of 2016, one of the finest soundtracks, and one of the best scripts ever written in recent years. Top-down RPG style thing, but for the new one he's made it more side-scrolly, turn-based combat. It's great. Just play it. It's fantastic. Another one is the spiritual sequel to Roll Cage, which is called Grip, which is by the creative director guy that originally worked on the Roll Cage games on PS1, and he's made this new thing called Grip, which is literally just Roll Cage on PS4, physics-based racing with lots of, Mario Kart style power-ups and stuff like that. It's absolutely brilliant, and I just love the sense of momentum in that thing.
Well, if I'm being honest, it's technically 3 games about a mythical creature.
Why'd you look at me?
That lots of kids identify with, and is sometimes coloured purple.
Okay.
And should have been Game of the Year.
Right, okay.
I'm talking about the Banner Saga 3, not Spyro. Mainly because of the fact Scott wouldn't let me put Spyro into the Game of the Year.
Game of the Year 2018 should have Games of the Year 2018.
What was last year's one? Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy?
Yeah, who actually lost their minds trying to get you to not put that into the ranking?
Well, doesn't matter because it was definitely on there.
That's all released 20 years ago.
Anyway, not talking about that, no. So, Banner Saga 3 is an exceptional game and a brilliant closer to the Banner Saga trilogy, which you can buy as a nice little compendium now. It's quite an emotional tale because I've been invested in this since the first one. It's for those of you who don't know what it is, it's kind of like a mythical turn-based RPG. It's very much my style of things. It's like XCOM, but in a fantasy setting now. And has a great story with lots of moral choices. Thought it was fantastic. Second one, introduced new characters, elements, new gameplay. Then I was like, where are they going to go from here? And then it was the story, it's the payoff. I won't lie, I cried quite a few times through it. There's quite a lot of emotional goodbyes, and I was like, you know what, a game that moves me to tears has definitely got to be considered. And then I asked every other person if they've played it, and they're like, what's the Banner Saga? And I'm like, well, that sucks, because it definitely needs some more love, and I would definitely recommend you checking it out. If not There's one point, which is that they recreated all of the old 13th, 14th century instruments that were actually used by like Nordic tribes and stuff like that to record them, so they got the authentic sound. And it's just little touches like that are just quality and love going into it. The second one is Vermintide 2, because you get to smash rats in the faces with hammers.
The most overlooked game, you ask? Most overcooked game?
What's all this monkey business?
What's all this monkey business? That's a throwback. For those who know, then you know. So, Overcooked 2 is what came out this year, and Overcooked as a series is just such a wonderful little thing. Like the Overcooked game, the first Overcooked game, where you're saving the Onion Kingdom and you're running around making little treats, little pizzas, little soups, and it's just lovely and it's just good fun. And you can play it with your friends or you can play it on your own. I played the whole thing on my own and absolutely loved it, just chopping up things, running around. I make it sound like it's not a stress-inducing, like vein-popping, Jeremy coming out to show sort of game, because it definitely is that sort of game, but it's also very fun and nice. And Overcooked 2 improved on it so much and so well. Like, it carried over all of the lovely, charming elements of it and making all the fun food. And it also added the Night of the Living Bread, so you've got to love it for that. And you could also play online, so you would also, instead of having everyone local in like 2 to 4 player or whatever, you can actually do it across the system. And that's much nicer and much better for everyone. It's nice to have the choice. So yeah, I think that was such a lovely game, and people didn't really talk about it a lot this year because it's like a fun, silly family game that's all about cutting up food. It's literally just like real exciting cooking mama. So it deserves more love. It's a nice game. If you love onions, you're gonna love, I forgot the name then, Overcooked 2.
Wow. So overlooked, you forgot it.
If you love onions, then you'll love Overcooked 2. Also, you can throw, which equates to a wangle.
And another one as well is this little lush thing. Now, do you remember Yanni from E3 2014? There was like this little plush thing, little indie developer who signed on to EA's Originals program, which is EA saying like, hey, let's use a lot of our blood money to help fund some indies. And so one of the first projects for that was Unravel. And although the first one was fine, it was nice and twee, it was a side-scrolly physics-based platformer, Unravel 2 is everything that first game was going for, just completely perfected. It's got great little co-op mechanics where you're helping each other climb up cliffs. You sort of throw your little yarn lasso down a cliff and you help people climb up, or you make little bridges so you can jump together, and you solve puzzles together and you work together. And if your partner can't complete any of the tasks, which is always a thing in co-op games, they can just become you, they can yawn into you, and you can just guide them, and then you split apart and keep going as a two again. It's joyous and I absolutely love it. So Unravel 2 is a thing. Another one would be Thronebreaker, which is the CD Projekt Red's follow-up to The Witcher 3 in terms of the next game that they've done. It's called Thronebreaker, a Witcher game or a Witcher story, which is Gwent, the minigame from The Witcher 3, made into a top-down RPG. So you've got like dialogue choices and Diablo-style camera work and everything, but combat is done with Gwent. So when you come across enemies or you come across different figureheads that you need to fight, you still see things animated, but you're playing as Gwent, which is like one of the nicest little mini games from The Witcher 3, given like a bigger production and spread out across this entire RPG. Great idea, fantastic way to innovate on one of the coolest little mechanics in The Witcher 3. And yeah, Thronebreaker just arrived on consoles and it's brilliant.
Overlooked in this case isn't necessarily something that it's overlooked because it had no attention. It's because of the game series it is, and that is Tetris Effect.
Oh god, come on. Yes.
The only other man on the planet who seems to have played Tetris Effect. So many people just looked by this game because it's a Tetris game. Quite rightly to some extent, because the last couple of years, EA's been doing Tetris games. So the Tetris company went to these devs. What was it they did, Scott? You know what the game...
Oh, they did Lumines.
Lumines.
Yeah.
They went to this indie dev and said, hey, do you want to do like a Tetris game for us? And they came up with this game that's like, it's Tetris, literally, meets Space Invaders Extreme, meets Chime. And it's just this incredible, engrossing experience with Tetris at the heart of it.
I know it sounds crazy.
It sounds weird, and I think that's what kind of shut people off of it. It's like, it's another Tetris game, who cares? And I love Tetris. I've been playing it like my whole life. I love it to bits. I wanted like Tetris Ultimate to be amazing. I wanted like the quintessential Tetris game, but that doesn't really exist. But Effect came along and I was like, okay, I don't know. I gave the demo a go because the demo was only available for like a weekend, but I managed to nab on it for the last day and it was like, I need this game. It's one of the most enthralling, sort of like weighty experiences I've had in a long time with a game. And this is someone who has played like Red Dead and played other stuff like that. But Tetris Effect is the one that stuck with me so much. It's the one game this year that I've been really going back to. Like you turn on my PS4 and it's like, there's Red Dead, Spider-Man, and there's Tetris, and it's like, I'm gonna play Tetris. And just the visuals are all it's kind of trippy, the music all works together, your movements, similar to Space Invaders Extreme if you've played that, when you're moving around, when you're shooting, everything seems to be in time with the music and it all plays into this big melody. When you get to past certain checkpoints in terms of like getting 50 lines to 100 lines to 150 lines, the music changes, the aesthetic changes. Tetris is the perfect game. There is literally nothing you can do to that. People have tried to do things to it, they've tried to add bits on, and nothing's ever stuck. And they took this concept and they added one thing to it, and that's the zone mode or the zone area. I don't know how they refer to it in game. They added this thing where you can stack lines, you like freeze time, and you can do like a bunch of lines in one go and clear I think I cleared 12 lines in one go. And that one thing, they've made this game so much better, but they've changed so little. And I feel like I'm rambling, but
in the best way.
Because it's, like I said, because it's a Tetris game, nobody looks at it. Nobody pays attention to it. And
it's the little puppy on the corner.
It is. And
so much to give.
You just go over to it and it nuzzles your hand and it loves you for the fact you've given it some attention. And it is honestly one of the best games of the year. And it has been snubbed at the Game Awards. It's been nominated for VR game, and that's because there's only been about 5 VR games this year. But it hasn't got anything sound design wise. Black Ops 4 got sound design, I think. Like what? Tetris Effect, as much as it is a bit steep, I'm sure it'll be being cheaper because it's being sold physically very soon, so hopefully it'll be cheaper. Absolutely worth your time. Honestly, one of the best puzzle games, Tetris games, just PS4 games. It's not on Scott's PS4 exclusive list.
I recorded the thing before we did the
should have gone back and amended it and added Tetris Effect in.
Before. Oh. And another thing as well, while I'm here, is this lovely little game called Minute, and it's I put it in the games of the year so far earlier this year. The graphics are just simple as hell, black and white. It's just 2D pixelated top-down thing, but it's made by like a super team of devs. It's like one half of Vlambeer, one of the people who also worked on Horizon Zero Dawn, just sort of came together and just said like, let's make this lush, almost like a Metroidvania. It's like you basically solve quests and story chunks in 1 minute increments, and so you've always got like a countdown timer on the screen, but you find out different ways to extend that timer, and you meet different characters, and you compartmentalize like little quests like find 5 crabs or whatever. You do that in 1 minute, that person will give you an item, maybe it's a watering can, then you water a flower, and then in your next run you can do something different and you slowly expand the world as you go. It's only like an hour long or an hour and a half long, but it's like every RPG quest design or just everything that makes a lot of those old school Link to the Past style games great, compartmentalized and perfected. Minute's soundtrack is gorgeous, the character design is great, the whole charm of that world is just lush. So I recommend Minute to everybody. It'll cost you nothing, and it only lasts like an hour and a bit anyway. And my last one is the complete opposite of that, which is Kingdom Come Deliverance, the most over-the-top, big, stupid, it's meant to be realistic RPG made by this dude called Daniel Vavra, who worked on Mafia 2. And I think if it was released after Red Dead Redemption 2, when everybody's more prepped for busy work and slogging through something, it would have been picked up a hell of a lot more, because that game does for old school medieval time periods what Red Dead does for the West, which is just like you need to get good at fighting, you're going to get destroyed, you need to smith your weapons, you need to make sure that you're hunting and skinning and talking to people and learning how to become a fighter, otherwise you just get destroyed by even a random bandit. But once you do get over that hump and you start working your way through it, it's so rewarding, and the story is incredibly well acted and it's great script as well. That's probably my ultimate overlooked game. Kingdom Come Deliverance is a brilliant package. It's just incredibly awkward, but I think if you got used to Red Dead 2, you can get used to that too.
Is it even Christmas if you don't have a really, really big, oversized, amazing Christmas jumper? Just recently played Detroit Become Human, and I'm so surprised there wasn't more chat about that at the time, because it was really, really good.
Josh Brown has left the room, but he would kick it back in if he knew it was being discussed.
It's so good. I loved Beyond Two Souls. So I sort of knew I was going to enjoy Detroit, but I've just never experienced a game that had that level of butterfly effect. Like, you play a game like a Telltale or like an Until Dawn or like, this, and obviously Beyond Two Souls, and you might like miss out the odd scene if you make the wrong decision, but with Detroit, like everyone dies. Like one of your 3 characters, they can die right at the start of the game, and you can just not have them for the rest of the game. The butterfly effect in it is amazing, so that was definitely overlooked, I think. I've been playing a lot of indie games this year. Swords of Ditto was another one. It was just, it appealed to the Zelda lover in me. That was really good. I need to play more of that, to be honest. But what I'd like to spotlight is a game that I'm very relieved. I don't know if anyone else in the gaming team has
think only me and
played.
you know what this is, yeah.
Scott knows what it is because Scott plays everything. I'm going to talk about a game called Fae. And now I think it's pronounced Fae. The company that made it were Swedish, so I think it's Fae. It might be Fae.
Either.
Fae. I love
Fae.
languages. Fae.
Why not?
Fae in Swedish means fairy, if you didn't know. You're playing as this little fairy thing. It's like a fox. I just love games where you play as like cute little animals.
One of Eugene's finest game there, yes.
And so he's like part fox, part flying squirrel, and you sort of go through the game. It's all about being really in tune with nature. You meet different animals, like you meet a stag quite early on, and you learn how to sing with him. It sounds proper lame, but it's actually the most adorable, relaxed game. You learn all the different songs from all the different animals, and they teach you to do different mechanics. Like one teaches you how to open flowers, and then the flowers you can use to bounce to other areas that you couldn't get to before. And you learn to fly later on, like a glide, I guess. So like a spiral, kind of like not like flying. It still has the sort of puzzle platform aspect of it, but it's so good. It's like really short as well. I want to say I went for 100% and I got that in under 10 hours. And it's quite cheap as well. Lovely little indie game. It was actually published by EA, so if that gives you an idea of the quality, like no jokes. No jokes. Definitely think that one was overlooked just because it was just delightful.
Totally.
Like you, Scott.
Oh, cheers, mate. Diablo's bad.
Diablo is not bad! Why do you do that to me?
Because that'll go out after.
I was being nice to you!
You were.